Hi Math 6-5. This is the start of the video for lesson 97, which is scheduled for Monday, March 23rd. This is our second lesson of that day. And this one covers ratios. Ratios are a way to describe a relationship between two numbers, and they are typically written in a fraction form. And so we're going to get started with a ratio of something that I think we would all be pretty familiar with, kind of starting off easy with a ratio. So what I was thinking is, if we wanted to write the ratio of boys to girls in our class, obviously we have to pretend we're all together and to go down that ratio. Okay, so we want what we need to, when we set up our ratio, we need to be sure we read the words very carefully. The ratio of boys to girls. And as I said, ratios are set up in a fraction. So what that is going to look like is your numerator will be the number of boys. Your denominator will be the number of girls, because it wants the ratio of boys to girls. Okay? If it wants the ratio of girls to boys, that would be your fraction, the way your fraction would be set up. But that's not what we're dealing with right now. We're going to go over here. So we're going to write boys to girls. Okay? And we're going to count the number of boys we have in our class. We have Aaron and Toby and Zachary. So that is 3 boys. And girls, we have Sarah and London and Allison and Miss Jackson and myself. So we have 5 girls. So the ratio in our class of boys to girls is 3 to 5. That's how you say it. It's written as the fraction 3/5. But if you were to say it in words, it would be the ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 5. There are 3 boys to every 5 girls in our class. And now if we were going to take the girls, the ratio of girls to boys, basically swapping these around, we said we have 5 girls, so that goes where the girls are, and we have 3 boys. So this would be our ratio of girls to boys, which written in words is 5 to 3. Now notice this is an improper fraction because the numerator is larger than the denominator. We do not have to turn this into a mixed number at this point because this is a ratio. And this particular problem, if it asked for girls to boys, it wants to see 5 to 3 written this way, or 5 to 3 in words. So we do not turn this into a mixed number. We leave it as an improper fraction for this instance. So that's a really simplistic way to do ratios. None of these are hard. You guys will be excellent at them. I'm going to work another example that has another step added to it, basically. Still not difficult. You've all got this. This one I'm actually pulling from the book because I think it is a great example. I'm on page 505 in the book on the example that says there were 12 oranges and 16 apples in the basket. Okay, what was the ratio of, and this is very important, apples to oranges? Okay, so we have to look at the words. We want the ratio of apples to oranges. So our numerator in our fraction is going to be apples to, is like our fraction bar, oranges. That's how we will set up our fraction. So if we do that, we have 16 apples and we have 12 oranges. Now I know this is an improper fraction, so I said you don't have to turn it into a mixed number, but you still can reduce this. So you should reduce your ratios to their lowest fraction, even though you're not turning it into a mixed number. So if we were to reduce this, we would divide both the numerator and the denominator by their greatest common factor, which for 12 and 16, their greatest common factor is 4. When we do that, 16 divided by 4 is 4, 12 divided by 4 is 3. We get this fraction, which is 4 to 3. So what was the ratio of apples to oranges? 4 to 3. 4 apples to every 3 oranges. 4, and that's how you write it in words. 4 to 3. Okay, so you can reduce it. You do not have to change that into a mixed number. If they had swapped this around and said, what was the ratio of oranges to apples? So they have swapped it around in the question, and they want to know what the ratio of oranges to apples is. So your numerator now becomes oranges. Your denominator now becomes apples. Then you fill it in. How many oranges are there? There are 12 oranges. How many apples are there? 16 apples. So I have 12 to 16, which as a fraction we can reduce, and we already said we would divide them by 4, both the numerator and the denominator, to get 3 to 4. So the ratio, of oranges to apples is 3 to 4. 3 oranges to 4 apples. Okay. And that's both the fraction and the words for how it would be. Your practice problems are just going to ask you for the fraction. So just be sure that you put the fraction in its lowest form, that you reduce the fraction to its lowest form like we've done here. And again, remember, you do not have to change that into a mixed number because it is a ratio, and a ratio wants to see the relationship between the two numbers, even if it means it looks like an improper, or even if it means it is an improper fraction. So your practice problems for lesson 97 are located on page 505. And I forgot to say also, we've already done a time test, excuse me. Time test was back on lesson 96. So your time test that we would have done in class was with lesson 96. So you will not have to do a time test for 97, and you will not have to do a time test for 98, because remember, if we were actually in class together, we would do one time test, and then I would teach lessons 96, 97, and 98. So that one time test works for all 3 lessons as far as I'm concerned. If your parents want you to do more, that's up to them, and you should always obey your mom and dad. So I hope y'all are doing great. We miss y'all, and we hope to see you soon. Call me or text me, email me, whatever contact you need if you have any questions.